she's the female Shakti, the female energy of the Lord, of God. Just the power that's in her, but it's the power of good fortune, because why good fortune? Because she's entirely devoted to Vishnu. And that's all it takes. And this is purity. We're searching for purity, something good, something satisfying. She personifies it, And if we she's tried to serve, we get blessed by her.
Now, the extension of Shakti, of the goddess here, of Lakshmi, in this world, is when people have some incredible talents, incredible wealth, incredible charm, incredible intellect, right? And if you have that, but it's almost like electricity that's not grounded, like a live wire, and it can cause all types of trouble, like after a storm and there's live wires on the ground. So that wire, once it's grounded, it can light up the entire city. So in the same way, we have these gifts of God, so to speak. But if we don't use them for God, we end up frying ourselves from our ego. Let's face it, our ego causes us maha problems. And it's from taking all the Shakti, all these gifts that we have, and using them to glorify ourselves instead of returning it to glorify the source of that. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Live from Udaipur, Rajasthan, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily spiritual podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York City, Kaustubha Das, joining us live in Rishikesh. Welcome to the show. This is episode 1452. Today is October 23rd, 2024. Good morning, Kaustubha.
Good morning. Well, it's not morning for us. It's afternoon for us, but
yeah, good afternoon. It's hard to do. This is a hard time to do the show. For me, personally. For me, yeah.
Speak to me.
4:30 is sort of like I need to slow down time. And sort of like when I do the show, I need to be up. And now I'm a little down. I'm a real morning person. 4 o'clock hits me. It's just like, yeah.
Okay. Well, let's work with it. We can work with it.
We're going to work with it. It's Walk on Wednesday today. Walk on Wednesday is when we invite somebody from our community to talk about some stuff for a few minutes. And before we get there, Miss Mara, who usually does announcements, is on her back not feeling well today. So she took a day off today. So she's just chilling out here by my side. Okay. But here's her announcement.
You're there for her, Raghunath? You're there for her?
I'm there for her. Are you kidding?
Okay. I'm just
here
checking.
At her beck and call.
All right.
We've got a in-person Bhakti Recovery Group meeting in Philly from 7 to 8 p.m. at Bhakti Garden.
Oh, yeah.
But what day? Didn't say what day.
Today, Friday. Huh? Friday today.
Oh, it's Wednesday. Oh, that's today. Okay. And here's another one. Join Wisdom of the Sages at the beautiful Govardhan Eco Village for a Light on Wisdom training from January 12th through the 24th. By the way, just putting this out there, space is extremely limited.
Oh.
If you ever wanted to have a time away from the daily grind to learn yoga wisdom in depth and have all your questions answered in a supportive environment, this is an opportunity that can't be missed. Go to wisdomofthesages.com for more info and to register. Of course, Kaustubha, myself, and Miss Mara will be there, as well as Jiva G from the Bhakti Recovery Group, and she'll be giving regular classes there as well, Bhakti Recovery classes. All right.
Classes or like meetings?
Yeah, meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that being said, are you ready to bring on
special guests?
Walk on Wednesday. Welcome to the show, Laura from Chicago. She's a regular Zoomer. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you, Harry Ball. Good morning.
Look at Laura.
Harry Ball.
Such a nice person, isn't she?
She's a wonderful lady. Yeah. You got to know her really well on the Wisdom of the Sages training last year, right?
Yes.
And that's what she's here to assist us to pitch. You want to share your experience last year? That was the training that we did in India. This year it's from the 12th to the 24th. and tell people why it was a valuable thing for you.
Well, it was, we don't have enough time to say everything, but it was such a wonderful experience. Kastuba was teaching every day. You were teaching every day. I got to meet you guys in person, which really put a 3D dimension on this, Zoom call that I'd been on for a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah, the number one thing is it really taught me how to develop my relationship with Krishna, which I think was something wasn't really keyed in with kind of growing up in a Christian tradition. It was, God was kind of this presence over here and we were all these down here. And I didn't really understand developing that and listening to the teachings every day and the amazing kirtans every night. And really being on my own, even though we were a lot of people there and there was a lot of other visitors at the eco village. I found that every day I had time on my own to walk and do my chanting and have little discoveries and stumble upon the Mangala Arti in the temple at 4:30 in the morning, hearing the chanting one morning, jet lag, getting up so early the first morning I could hear the echoes of the chanting through the village, and that drew me the very next day there. I actually followed Linda a couple of times in the morning, stayed a safe distance, respectable distance away from her, so I didn't feel like I was stalking her. But she led me to where the temple was, and it was just a really beautiful experience, and to be able with the cows and seeing an initiation and without being all over India and going to Vrindavan, which I can't wait to do, being at the eco village was just such a beautiful mini experience for that, and super safe. Yeah, it was one of the best things I've ever done for my life. I wish I could have started this saying that I was going again this year, but I'll be back, and I would just like to encourage anyone who is thinking about it to really take the time and go for yourself and your relationship with Krishna, and just to check out of this material life for a couple of weeks and be able to have that experience. It's the sights, the sounds, the smells, the food is fantastic.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Thank you.
I loved it. It was just so wonderful.
Laura, what is your background briefly, and how did you get into bhakti?
So I start my asana practice has been going pretty strong for about 10 years, went through teacher training probably 4 or 5 years ago. And in that process for teacher training, I started looking deeper into the more meditational, spiritual side of yoga, and realizing it's really the asana practice is just 1/8, right? And I stumbled across Wisdom of the Sages, some of your interviews with Joe Rogan and Rich Roll. And I was a Rich Roll fan anyway, but had somehow missed your interview, and then just started listening on YouTube, and pretty quick, in a couple of weeks, emailed Mira and got a link. And it's been, at that time it was 5 o'clock in the morning in Chicago, and I had my little space, and it's just been, you guys are, this is just such a deep part of my spiritual life. I don't know what I would do without you guys. To having set my own spiritual practice this has been so important. And then going to India with you guys, just taking the leap to do that, it just all worked. I just happened to get a little bonus from work, and I just said, this is it, I'm going. It's all worked out, and I got support from my kids and partner to go. So Rich, who's on the show.
That's nice.
Yeah.
But you're not a yoga teacher full time, right?
No, I only taught for a little while. So I'm a practitioner. I have a studio I go to, and I just practice. I'm not the greatest teacher. Practitioner.
I'm trying to prove that it's not just for yoga teachers. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
What do you do for your career?
I sell fasteners. I'm a sales manager for a small
You're a sales manager.
Yeah, nuts full. I sell that, and play my kirtan in the background.
Okay, that's good. So it's not just for yoga teachers. It's not just for backpackers around India. Everybody from all walks of life, all different ages, and it's sort of like it's almost like a no-brainer because India can get complicated. It can get you can get lost in the noise and the shuffle and the pollution and stuff like that. But it's a really nice bubble of sanity. Flying into Mumbai, then we escort you right to the GEV. Then we have the flower festival, and then you're home, or you come to Mayapur with us. So thank you for sharing, and I appreciate it. And I couldn't have said it any better. It's a really sweet environment with sweet people, and there's something about that three-dimensional association, which is quite wonderful.
You know what's one of the best things about it, Raghunath? You get to meet really nice people like Laura there, you know? It's like,
Yeah.
really, it's always really good people, you know?
Yeah, she's a good
Make,
person.
make good friends. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Laura. I appreciate it.
You.
Thank you, Laura, so
Have
much.
a beautiful day. Yeah, so you, by the way, you got to go to wisdomofthesages.com to sign up. Get back to you ASAP. Alrighty.
All right,
Let's
Raghu.
dive into the Srimad Bhagavatam, sir.
Do it.
You want to share anything happening with you? You want to share about?
I kind of wrapped up my classes here with a wonderful group of people from, I think I could maybe as well say, but they're from Iran, you know?
From Iran. That is like illegal.
It's not when you're in India.
I'm gonna see Kastuba tomorrow. Me and him. Everybody just close your eyes for a moment and picture me and Kastuba running towards each other slow motion.
That's not going to happen.
Holding each other by the wrist and swinging each other around and laughing and throwing our heads back. That's what's going to happen tomorrow in Rishikesh, Kastuba, you and me. Then dipping each other in the Ganges, splashing and laughing. Huh?
When
I
do you
arrive,
arrive?
I think like 4:00 tomorrow.
Oh, well, the show's at 4:30, so you could.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to make it. Do we have? No. Oh, you're doing it with
no, that's
Kishore
right. I'm
Gopi
doing the
tomorrow.
show without you. That's right. That's
You're
right.
doing
We're
with
bringing
Kishore
on
Gopi, the bright light from
bright
Vermont.
light of Vermont. She's going to be the co-host tomorrow. That's right.
That's exciting. Oh, yeah. That's good. That's great news.
Okay.
All right, so that's good. We had our last big Maha Kirtan at the Jagdish Temple.
Oh,
and
yeah.
We're trying to post stuff, so you can check out my Raghunath Yogi Instagram account. And I try to collaborate with the Wisdom of Sages account. But I tell you, these guys, they are so sweet. Young guys, old guys, like old men, a bunch of old ladies, young ladies.
Old
It's
people
like
in there.
so exciting. And they're there every day. I can't figure out when they work. But today we lost it today in the temple. Very inspiring. And then we went for a boat ride. And, they all went to see Srinathji. I didn't go today because I was taking care of Mara and we were exhausted. So they all went early in the morning to see Srinathji and had darshan. They all had very positive experiences. And the group had an incredible day today.
Someone's bringing me my brick.
Yep, we got you some goodies from Nathdwar.
Yeah.
And
big sweets.
We're
big
having
brick size sweet.
We're having a nice kirtan tonight at a Hanuman temple, and then palm readers coming and doing everybody's palms.
Palm reader. Okay.
We did it before we got to you because you poo on it. I got a feeling. So we're doing our palm reading tonight. I'll tell you if he's any good.
All right.
Okay. All right, my friend. Narayanam namaskutyanam shaivanaratamam devim saraswatim vyasam tojayamadhirayat. Before we start the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan. To Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, and to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning. Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva badresu nityam bhagavat sevaya. Bhagavati utamashloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam, and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Agyana Timarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Midatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes. With the torchlight of knowledge, I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, chapter 8, text 9.
Okay, let's slow it down for 1 second. They're churning this ocean, Raghunath, right?
Yep.
Demigods on one side,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Demigods, we can kind of look at them like ourselves, like they're trying to be good, but their hearts are a little mixed. You know, they got they've got other desires than just pure devotional desires, but they want to be good devotees. They want to serve
Yeah.
Vishnu. But every now and then, because they get a little caught up in the material life, the nature of that is your world's going to get shaken up from time to time. And then they go running back to Vishnu, please help us. And Vishnu says, here's what you do. You're going to churn the ocean of milk, but you're going to have to do it with your enemies, the demons. And you're going to have to do it like, just do what they say. Just tolerate it. Just trust me on this one, just, so, okay, if that's what you're saying. Then they're doing it, they're churning, and just things are going wrong, like they go through a lot in that churning. They get kind of exhausted and kind of wiped out, and then finally when something starts to churn, first thing that came out was all this poison, but fortunately they turned to Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva, with great compassion, takes it on himself, right, and drinks that poison. Then they keep churning, and different things are coming out, and different people are taking those things. But the Devas have been told, just be patient, don't get worried about anything else that comes out of there. Just hang on for the nectar, right? It's that nectar at the end that you need to get. And so they're tolerating, and they're churning, and they're churning. But then we read about yesterday that the goddess Lakshmi, she churned right out of that ocean. And now there's going to be a whole long thing about, she's going to kind of be like, what do they call it when you take a king, you install a king, like they have a coronation, right? That's right? Right? Where there's a whole ceremony. Even they do that. It seems like it's drawn from India because they pour water on them, and like even in Europe they would do that, right?
All those Vedic rites, or all those
Yeah.
rites of the kings and the coronations, it seems like they're coming from Eastern
Yeah.
coronations, or which is also similar, which comes from deity worship.
Yeah.
I'd love to actually
So that's
find out all the things they do in Europe.
So that's what's going to happen with her. Everybody, it was mentioned that when she came out, how she appeared like electricity. Her glow was surpassing lightning. And she came out, and the phrase that was used for her as she came out was Bhagavat Pada, which means, Prabhupada translates it like this in the word-for-word translation: absolutely. That means not partially, not somewhat, not 50%, not even 90%. Absolutely inclined to being possessed by the personality of Godhead, by Lord Vishnu.
Yeah.
Like,
and yesterday we spoke about how that triggers us. Who wants to be owned by somebody? Who wants to be used by somebody? And I tell you this, being used in the material world is horrible. Sometimes we've been used by a boyfriend or a wife. We've been used by our bosses. We've been used by, just no one likes to feel used. But the goal of life is to be used by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that's a good way of being used. It's almost our prayer. Please use me. Take it all. Take my thoughts, my energy,
take me,
my
I'm yours.
my intelligence, my talents. It's all yours anyway. Once I get it for myself, I use it for my ego. That causes all my troubles.
Right. And so we're going to read now just how everyone is stunned by her beauty and her effulgence. This was a person that had beauty and wealth beyond what we can imagine. And still, all she wants is to belong to and be enjoyed by and be intimately connected with and attached to the object of her love. And that's Lord Vishnu. That's in a sense, it's just the happiness that we're all looking for. But we do have issues, and we do have walls, and we do have our skepticism and our fears and all of that. She's got none of those issues. She just rises out, and she manifests this divine feminine devotion. And with that comes all good fortune. You know, she's called the goddess of fortune. With that mood, you know, I am yours, my dear Lord. You're my very source. I am the energy that belongs to you. With that mood, there is nothing but good fortune. And the more that we turn from that mood, the more that we turn from our own good fortune. And so she's going to be recognized. It's impossible not to recognize how tuned in this woman is, right? Like how connected, and how effulgent and glorious. Everyone comes up and starts offering gifts, and they kind of coronate her, and she marries Lord Vishnu like right on the spot. And so that's what we'll read about today.
You ready?
Ready?
Here's text 9. Because of her exquisite beauty, her bodily features, her youth, her complexion, and her glories, everyone, including the demigods, the demons, and the human beings, desired her. They were attracted because she is the source of all opulence. This is Lakshmi Devi. She's the source of opulence.
Yes.
The king of heaven, Indra, brought a suitable sitting place for the goddess of fortune. All the rivers of the sacred water, such as the Ganga, the Yamuna, personified themselves, and each one of them brought pure water in golden water pots for Mother Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune.
That
The
must be so
land became a
beautiful to see that.
person. Wonder what the Ganges really looks like and the Yamuna in their personified form.
They're incredibly beautiful. And then they got a big pot full of this auspicious water that's like pure spiritual energy. Yamuna water, Ganga water. This isn't ordinary water. This is the water of the spiritual realm. That got
There's
a
water
big,
that can
beautiful pot of that.
change your life.
Oh, yeah.
The land became have you bathed in the Ganga yet?
Yeah. Bathed the day of Prayaga, bathed in Rishikesh.
All right. Just checking up.
Okay. Making sure.
Checking up. Making sure. The land became a person. Wait till you see this hotel we're going to stay in. You're going to be bathing 3 times a day.
I'm down for that. They got their own little beach right on the water.
Their own private Ganga beach. You don't even want to leave the hotel. You just want to stay at the Ganga. And you feel like you're in the jungle. You see nothing around.
Really?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I've never found a better place.
The place
there
I'm at
might
now
be
is
some
beautiful.
place that's a little, you know what? I can tell at your place it's probably a little bit more like refined in some sense, but not only are the rooms comfortable and large, without that quick access to the Ganga, you got nothing.
Well, no, we're hugging nothing.
You know what I mean? But really,
they got
truly,
nothing.
I'd rather be I'd rather be a turtle and a fish in a coconut shell living near the Ganga than to live in some palace far away from you.
I'm right at the Ganga. I can see it right out my window here.
You can see it, but you can't just enter it, and that's
we're gonna. The breeze is from the Ganga. Carry its auspiciousness.
That's the Yamuna you're thinking of. You're confusing that with the Yamuna.
It works for Ganga too.
But yes, of course, it's auspicious to look at the Ganga. But I'm saying instant access. That's what you want. That's what I can provide for you, and you get there tomorrow.
Thank you. You sound like the hotel guy yourself. We're going to provide that for you. You would have been a good hotel guy too. I would be at least for greeting people. You would have greeted them well. I don't know if you would have taken care of all the details well.
Greeting people. A host. Welcome to our fine establishment. It's been in our family for many generations. Taking good care of you. Need anything? I'm the guy to see. We have quick access to the Ganga.
No, you'd say if you need anything, talk to Mara.
You talk to Miss Mara. She will help you out. Now, the king of heaven brought a suitable sitting place for the goddess of fortune. Oh, I said this. Okay. The land became a person and collected all the drugs and herbs needed for installing the deity.
Is that
the
Bhumi
cows
Devi?
Delivered 5 products? Huh?
Is that Bhumi Devi? The Mother Earth, the land became a person.
Maybe it's the earth became a person. The cows delivered 5 products. So this is the Pancha Gavya. The 5 products of the cow. Now listen to this: milk,
namely
yogurt, ghee, urine, and cow dung.
Urine. Okay.
Yes, and spring personified collected everything produced in spring. It's nice. The goddess of spring.
Did I tell you the time I was buying some of that some of that soap that they make in the Govardhan Eco Village. I was in Mayapur,
Soap?
and yeah, you know, in Mayapur they have on
Cow dung
Sundays.
soap?
Yes, in Mayapur on
Try
Sundays.
explaining that to your family members.
No, just hear me out, right? In Mayapur on Sundays, in in that Grihasta area and the big playground that they have.
Yeah,
So
I love
they
that.
come out and everyone sets up little booths. They sell a lot of food. They sell
It's like the
different
Hare
goods.
Krishna flea market.
It's great.
Or
It's true.
the Hare
Everybody
Krishna
hangs out.
Sunday, Hare Krishna farmers market.
Yeah, something like that.
It's
And
great.
so there's one little table set up with all of that soap and toothpaste and all of the products that they make.
Yeah.
And I had tried one bar and I liked it. So I was asking the lady, the young lady there working the table there. I'm saying I was asking a question about the soap. You know, I was asking about different flavors or whatever, different, you know, varieties that they have, and she thought I was doubtful about its authenticity. And she says, "No, Prabhu, I guarantee you, full Panchagavya is in there." And I said, yeah, no, I understand that. But what I'm wondering is, Prabhu, I guarantee you, there's milk, yogurt, ghee, urine, and dung inside the soap. You know? Like, no,
Maybe they should
thank
put
you.
that on the advertisement, like contains real dung. The funny thing is, you and I swear by it, and anyone we try to explain that to thinks we're insane.
Unless you're in
There
India,
comes a
where people know about it.
Or
Yeah,
maybe.
no,
I'm sure
they
not
know.
everybody knows about it. Those who are in the know. But if you don't know,
Antiseptic.
there's people listening on Zoom right now are going, what?
What?
What am I getting into? Okay, it was weird enough I accept the robes. It was weird enough I accept the tilak. It was weird enough I accept that the Ganges is a person. But now we're bathing with dung? Yes, you are.
It's entirely
You don't have to.
antiseptic.
You
It's
don't
been
have
proven
to.
scientifically.
To join our religion, you don't have to bathe with dung, but it might help your spiritual life. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. And the goddess of fortune accepted it, so we accept it.
She did. The great sages performed bathing ceremonies of the goddess of fortune as directed in authorized scriptures. The Gandharvas chanted all auspicious mantras, and the professional women dancers very nicely danced and sang authorized songs prescribed in the Vedas, not just regular
All this
songs.
Yeah. No. And all of this, you know, we see this play out in entertainment where you got Bollywood or musicals or even these like performers that like they sing popular pop singers and they got all the dancers behind. This stuff is just, this is the original form, the pure form, the form that's not infused with lust and greed and all kinds of confusion. Imagine how beautiful the goddess Lakshmi looked as the ceremony was being performed, you know, being bathed, surrounded by beautiful dancers. It must have just been like, we just can't imagine what would it be like to take that in with our eyes, you know? I want to see it, Ragnar. I want to see it.
You'll get to see it.
I want to
as
hear
you leave this
hear those
body,
songs.
as you leave this mortal frame, and I'm sitting by your side chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. And you're like
That's
leaving
right.
your body.
I see
You're
it.
like,
I
get
see
this
it.
fool away from me.
No.
I'll chant right in your ear, baby. Kastuba, I gotta chant
this
to you
is-
as you die.
This
If
goddess,
you die first.
she's the female Shakti, the female energy of the Lord, you know, of God. Just the power that's in her, but it's the power of good fortune, you know? Because why good fortune? Because she's entirely devoted to Vishnu. And that's all it takes. And this is purity. We're searching for purity, something good, something satisfying. She personifies it, you know? And if we just try to serve, we get blessed by her.
Now, the extension of Shakti of the goddess here, of Lakshmi, in this world, is when people have some incredible talents, incredible wealth, incredible charm, incredible intellect, right? And if you have that, but it's almost like electricity that's not grounded, like a live wire, and it can cause all types of trouble, like after a storm and there's live wires on the ground. So that wire, once it's grounded, it can light up the entire city. So in the same way, we have these gifts of God, so to speak. But if we don't use them for God, we end up frying ourselves from our ego. Let's face it, our ego causes us maha problems. And it's from taking all the Shakti, all these gifts that we have, and using them to glorify ourselves instead of returning it to glorify the source of that.
And Raghunath, what you just said is so important, because from Vishnu is this Shakti, this energy, the goddess of fortune. Or really, you know, we would say as Gaudiya Vaishnavas and as worshippers of Radha and Krishna, that the goddess of fortune, like Radha, is the female Shakti that comes, you know, that is Krishna's energy. And she expands into the goddess of fortune, right? And all the different goddesses stem from that original goddess. And we have the opportunity to take shelter, to connect with that beautiful divine feminine energy that blesses you with all good fortune. And if we don't, if we take whatever gifts we're given and turn around from that auspiciousness, then there's a further expansion, a further female expansion that comes, and that's Durga, right? It's like the same goddess manifesting in a different form. Durga is like, she's like, okay, I can give you material things if you want, but I'll tell you something. You'll get some pleasures, but it's also going to come with some pain as well. And so she's kind of becomes the goddess of the material energy, which is, you know, she carries that trident, Raghunath. It's got 3 points.
Adibodhika, Adidaivaka. Just like imagine if I'm chasing you around with the trident, Kastuba. Just imagine that.
Okay.
And I just throw the trident. You're running. I throw the trident at you. At least one of the prongs is going to go in you, right? Maybe all three. But if if you're running, you're quick. You're hard to catch. At least one of those prongs will go into you. That is described as human beings. Once you get a material body, one of the prongs of Durga Devi is going in you. And that's the prong of pain caused by your own body, the prong of pain caused by other bodies, right? Or the prong of pain caused by the elements. And so sometimes, like right now, it's a little cold in here. It's a little cold because I got the AC on in this room. If I turn off the AC, if I turn the AC off, you know what happens? It gets really hot in here. So I'm on a roller coaster with the prong of heat and cold. Then, Mara got a stomach bug or something. So she's got the pain of her own body's causing her some pain.
Right.
Then there's other people causing me pain. You get mugged, you get jumped, you get stung by a bee or stung by a wasp. That's pain too. So these are three. Oftentimes we're getting poked by one of them. And when we're not being poked, we call that happiness. They say that so-called pleasure in the material world is a cessation of our pain.
Right.
Right. But we want real pleasure. And bhakti is real pleasure. And you could have seen it in their faces today in the kirtan. This old man.
That's
in
when
their
that
eyes.
auspiciousness is. That's the bhakti shakti. That's the divine feminine devotional energy, right? Descending.
They could have all left their bodies today in that kirtan, and they would have been just fine.
Wow. Raghunath, I once read a really interesting essay by Vishaka Devi. Okay.
I'm reading her book right
disciple.
now. Fine. I'm reading her book finally.
Which one? The 11 days for 11 months.
5 years.
So many days.
5 years, 300 days.
It's
not an easy title to remember. But her story is so good.
Yeah. Well, she wrote this. It was really an essay about like feminine energy, and she was saying like I think it was especially speaking to women, and she was saying we have the choice. Feminine energy comes with power, and she was saying we have the choice to use that energy in let's say like the model of Lakshmi, where we're bringing beauty and power and auspiciousness into the world, into our environment.
Yep.
Or we can choose to be more of like a Durga figure, which means bringing in pleasure and also pain, like being, in a realm of disconnection from the divine source, you know, a woman can be like, yeah, I can be the source of pleasure and pain, and I can, you know what, I can be sassy about it too, and that's who I am, you know. But it's a really fascinating way. You know, men in a way it's similar, but it was written in a very interesting female perspective. You know. So, in any case, this goddess of fortune is just hearing about her is inspiring. Let's hear what more they have to say here.
Before we go on, can I just give a
Yeah.
shout out to Vishaka Devi? If you don't know her, she's
Okay.
a Prabhupada disciple, a very senior Prabhupada disciple, who was a atheist from an academic family from Long Island. And she went on a photo shoot in India, and she met the devotees.
Yeah. They did
And she writes
her and her husband, or maybe he was the fiance at the time, went to India to do like a photojournalism kind of thing, right?
yeah, they're photojournalists. Anyway, such a great book. I'm just reading this. It's called 5 Years, 11 Months, and a Lifetime of Unexpected Love. I'm listening to it on Audible,
Oh, there
and
you go.
it's read by the author, and it's great. You should all get it right now. And it's just great to hear her story, to hear her struggle, to hear
It
her,
was
dealing with atheism and why is she so attracted to this? Yet, this can't be true, and her struggling with her doubts and just hearing the stories about, because I love India, hearing the stories about just being in India back then, and just being with Prabhupada back then. It was so wonderful and sweet.
you know
And then how she gets, yeah, go.
that's the theme of the book is yes, she had her own kind of atheism and skepticism and feminism and so many ideas that when she came to India and especially like being a member of the early Hare Krishna movement, you know, it was
Yeah,
very challenging to her on all those different levels. But it really has to do with how Prabhupada's presence, you know, his teachings, his presence, and how the practice of bhakti in his association, close association, how that how she began to see the world in a new way and see devotion in a new way and overcome all those obstacles that were placed
sure.
in her path. And because her and her husband were these photojournalists, they were actually, they went there to do a project and then they just became Prabhupada's disciples. And then he became the project. You know, they were always following him. So
Right,
they
right.
were always around him so much at the time. And so she got a very unique experience.
And because of it, we have these incredible, um, both still photos and incredible and artistics
Film. Yeah.
films of Prabhupada,
Yeah.
because they shot Prabhupada, were with him everywhere, and documented his life, and especially his life as a leader of and guru, which, I mean, these guys were placed in the exact right place, the exact right time, with the exact right talents, that we can go back and find all these films, find all these photos, and to hear her story is just so wonderful. So
And she
I'm gonna
currently
shout it
serves.
out again. Get this book. Yeah,
She
she's the
currently
temple
serves
president of the
as yeah,
manor
Bhaktivedanta Manor
in
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 at the side of
outside of
London.
London.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, where were we? Okay,
Great elephants are coming now. Or the clouds personified. Text 13, is that it? Yes. Text 13, Roga.
the clouds in personified form beat various types of drums. What? Known
Yes.
as mridungas, panavas, murajas, and anakas. They also blew conch shells and bugles, known as gomukas, and played flutes and stringed instruments. The combined sound of these instruments was tumultuous. Thereafter, the great elephants from all the directions carried big water jugs filled with Ganges water and
Must
bathed
be
the
like a
goddess of
ton of
fortune.
water. I mean,
Yeah,
if
well,
elephants are
she's
carrying it, you know,
a
huge
big lady.
amounts.
She's a big lady. To the
No.
accompaniment of Vedic mantras, that's not an offense. Nowadays,
No,
if you
but
call a
I,
woman if you call a
no,
woman a big woman, it's offense. I'm just saying she's
but I
not
don't think they
offended
need so
by
much water because
Mark,
she's big. I think they're just pouring a lot of water on her.
or she's very big and they poured a little on her. We don't know this. She's a big, beautiful woman.
Okay.
While thus being bathed, the goddess of fortune maintained her original style with a lotus flower in her hand, right? That's her usual style. And she appeared very
Yeah.
beautiful. The goddess of fortune is most chaste, for she does not know
Yeah.
anyone but the supreme personality of Godhead. The
Wow.
ocean, which is the source of all valuable jewels, supplied the upper and lower portions of a yellow silken garment. The predominating deity of the water, Varuna, presented
Verona.
flower garlands surrounded by 6-legged bumblebees, drunken with honey.
6
The
legs.
Vishvakarmas, 6 legs.
Vishvakarma. What's going on?
You're
Right?
saying,
Okay.
why are you saying 6 legs?
Just throwing that out there. The detail was there. It was interesting, right?
Did I not say it? 6-legged
No,
bumblebees?
you did. It's just interesting that
Oh,
that
you were
little
just-
detail is there.
6-legged bumblebees. Maybe there's how
There
many,
may be other kind of
how
bumblebees.
many
out
legs
there.
do bumblebees have?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought they all had 6
Maybe
legs.
someone can put it on the message board. We want numbers of legs of bumblebees.
Okay.
Maybe most of them have 4.
Could
Thereafter,
be.
Mother Lakshmi, Vishvakarma, one of the Prajapatis, supplied varieties of decorated ornaments. The goddess of learning, Saraswati, supplied a necklace. Lord Brahma supplied a lotus flower, and the inhabitants of Nagaloka, that's the snake planet, supplied earrings.
Okay.
Thereafter, Mother Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, having been properly celebrated with an auspicious ritualistic ceremony, began moving about, holding in her hand a garland of lotus flowers, which were surrounded by humming bumblebees. Smiling with shyness, her cheeks decorated by her earrings, she looked extremely beautiful.
Gorgeous. You know, this is so in the Indian wedding ceremonies. You know, the bride garlands the groom. You know, they really garland each other. But so she's walking.
Garland each other.
She's walking down the path. She's seeing everybody's there, and she's going to find the person that she's going to put that garland around and say, "I belong to you."
Mhm. Her 2 breasts, which were symmetrical
Very good.
and nicely situated, were covered with sandalwood pulp and kumkum powder. That's the red powder. And her waist was very thin.
Okay.
As she walked here and there, her ankle bells jingling softly, she appeared like a creeper of gold. While walking amongst the Gandharvas, the Yakshas, the Asuras, the Siddhas, the Charanas, and the other denizens of heaven, Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, was scrutinizingly examining them, but she could not find anyone naturally endowed with all good qualities. None of them was devoid of faults, and therefore she cannot take shelter of any of them. The goddess of fortune
Very
examining the assembly.
discriminating.
Yeah, very discerning.
Very discerning.
The goddess of fortune examining the assembly thought in this way: someone who has undergone great austerity has not yet conquered anger. Wait,
You understand?
she thought in this way.
Yes. Like, in other words,
Someone who
someone
has
may have
undergone
one
great
good quality but
austerity.
doesn't have the other, right? Here's one person that's
Yeah.
undergone great austerity, like Durvasa, but he hasn't
Yeah.
conquered anger. So I can't give myself fully to him, right?
And then there's someone who possesses knowledge, but he has not conquered material desires.
And the Brihaspati.
Someone who's very great personality, but he cannot conquer lusty desires.
Say that's Brahma.
Even a great personality depends on something else.
Mhm.
How then can he be a supreme controller?
Right.
Someone may possess full knowledge of religion, but still not be kind to all living entities. If in someone, whether human or demigod, there may be renunciation, but that is not the cause of liberation. Someone may possess great power, yet unable to check the power of eternal time. Someone else may have renounced attachment to the material world, yet he cannot compare to the supreme personality of Godhead. Therefore, no one is completely freed from the influence of the material modes of nature.
Okay.
Someone may have longevity, but not have auspiciousness or good behavior. Someone may have both auspiciousness and good behavior, but the duration of his life is not fixed. Although such demigods as Lord Shiva have eternal life, they have inauspicious habits, like living in a crematorium.
You going to hold that against him?
It's like George Costanza. You mean that's a bad thing? Well, you frown.
If I
on
knew
that
that was frowned
If I
upon.
ever knew, If I knew that was frowned upon, I would have. Still gets me laughing when I think of that episode.
You're telling me
And
that,
even
are you
if
telling me
other,
that's frowned upon? Because if I knew that,
and even if others are well qualified in all respects, they are not devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
okay.
Sukadeva Goswami continued, in this way, after full deliberation, the goddess of fortune accepted Mukunda as her husband because although he is independent and not in want of her, he possesses all transcendental qualities and mystic powers and is therefore the most desirable.
So
Approaching
Mukunda
the
is Lord
personality of
Vishnu,
God.
right?
Yeah.
Mukunda is Lord Vishnu.
Yep, the one who gives
And
liberation.
she walked past everybody that desired her and found the
There's
one
some big
person
people
who
there too.
very big and chose the one person that's self-satisfied, that isn't sitting there, I want her, you know, and that's
Right.
Lord Vishnu, and he will accept her. Okay.
In this way, after full deliberation, the goddess of
You read
fortune
that?
accepted Mukunda. Okay. Yeah. Approaching the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the goddess of fortune placed upon his shoulders the garland of newly grown lotus flowers, which
Oh.
was surrounded by humming bumblebees searching for honey. Then, expecting to get a place on the bosom of the Lord, she remained standing by his side, her face smiling in shyness. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the father of the three worlds, and his bosom is the residence of Mother Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, the proprietor of all opulence. The goddess of fortune, by her favorable and merciful glance, can increase the opulence of the three worlds, along with their inhabitants and their directors, the demigods. The inhabitants of Gandharva Loka and Charna Loka then took the opportunity to play their musical instruments, such as conch shells, bugles, drums. They began dancing and singing along with their wives.
Okay, so this is just
Brahma,
like the marriage
Shiva.
just took place. Like, you know, it's like, okay, she accepted him, he accepted her. Party, right? Breaks out into dance.
Lord Brahma,
Jet
Lord
lag in
Shiva,
there?
the great sage Angira, little jet lag, and similar directors of universal management showered flowers and chanted mantras, indicating the transcendental glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All the demigods, along with the Prajapatis and their descendants, being blessed by Lakshmi Ji's glance upon them, were immediately enriched with good behavior and transcendental qualities. Thus, they were very much satisfied. O king, because of being neglected by the goddess of fortune, the demons and Rakshasas were depressed, bewildered, and frustrated, and thus they became shameless.
That verse
These are all
right
bad
there.
guys.
Yeah, and this verse is really, maybe it's kind of like everything we're just reading. It's kind of like, let's say this was being read in Sanskrit, you know, and we're hearing verse after verse, maybe being sung in a beautiful melody, you know, and then when you get to this verse, it takes on an entirely different tone, right? It's like
Melody would be dark and
yeah, it's like everything that we're hearing about was so beautiful and pure. There was selflessness in it, and everything was perfect and brilliant and shining, and you know. And then we get to this verse, and now you have some people in that. You know, it's kind of special to hear, like, okay, she accepted him, he accepted her, and everyone became happy, and everyone began to sing and dance. But there's some people there that in their heart, rather than feeling connected to the root of all existence, rather than wanting to serve, water that root, you know, and always be connected favorably to that root, in the hearts of some people, there was no appreciation for that, you know. And so when they look at the goddess of fortune, they're not happy to see her connected with him, right? And this is all symbolic too, right? They want to take the goddess of fortune. They want to take all the goodness, you know, and take it for themselves. So it says that being neglected by the goddess of fortune, that's the result of disconnecting yourself, right? You get disconnected from her. Being neglected by the goddess of fortune, the demons and Rakshasas were depressed, bewildered, frustrated. Now, if we ever in our life feel depressed, feel bewildered, feel frustrated, we can stop and think and say, is there something in my life? Is there some way, something in my heart that's driving me to disconnect myself? You know, is there some kind of envy in me? Is there some kind of fear in me that keeps me turning away from all good fortune, you know, in connection with Vishnu, in connection with Krishna? That would be the root of my depression and bewilderment and frustration. And it says, unless they became shameless, right? Like once you disconnect yourself, anything goes, right?
Right. This is from the contemplation of the objects of the senses. This is what happened to them. From the contemplation of the objects of the senses, one develops attachment to them. From such attachment, lust arises. From lust, don't fulfill your lust, anger arises. When anger arises, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls back down into the material pool. Second chapter, Bhagavad Gita.
There you go.
That's the chain of events that happens when one of the senses wanders away and you get attached. You still there, Bubba?
I'm here, Bubba. Thank you for sharing that. Now, we have two choices. We could kind of wrap it up here, or we could try to wrap up the chapter, but it may be a bit much for us to wrap it up today.
No, let's wrap it up here. Unfortunately, Mara
Okay.
is out cold. I don't know
So we don't have any
this thing without
takeaways? Oh, you don't know how to do
music. Oh, here it
Well,
comes.
I got the
Wait.
music.
We don't have any takeaways, do we, Mara? You got the music? Okay, you do the music. Let's see. Any takeaways, anybody? We didn't leave anybody in charge of takeaways. Well, the takeaway is this. Stop staring at beautiful women. There you go. Or you'll fall back down into the material pool. That's one. Was that wrong? Should I have not have done that? Are things like that frowned upon here? Because I got to tell you, I plead ignorant.
We would have known. If we would have
quote was put on.
had any idea.
The quote was put on the board by Baba Grahi.
What else?
And I'm still not sure about the. Sometimes bumblebees have 6 legs. That was a takeaway.
Right. Is that it?
Okay. That being said,
I think
yes.
They always have 6 legs.
Never sacrifice easy access to the Ganga for luxury. Raghunath.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Nothing.
Me and Kastuba running to each other, slow motion tomorrow. Embracing, diving in the Ganga, splashing each other, singing songs, glorifying Mother Ganga, putting some on our forehead, some on our mouth. Mother Ganga coming herself, giving benedictions. It's all happening tomorrow live. Not with us, but with you and Kishori Gopi. Tell Kishori Gopi I said hello. We love her bright light. I got to go because we're going to the Hanuman temple now. It's a beautiful day for a beautiful day, people. Let the magic continue to flow. All glories to Ganga Maya ki jai, Yamuna Maya ki jai, Gora Premanande. Hari bol, everybody. Hey, everybody say a little prayer for Mara that she gets a little better. She got a tummy ache. Hari bol.